Hi, everybody. Elizabeth Carter from Golden Horseshoe here with Virginia Lanzotti, who is going to be our point contact on the new UDJC horse show that is going to be coming here to the St. Louis area in June. So she's going to run through us because everybody's kind of heard about it, but nobody really knows exactly what it is. So we thought we would go ahead and just have her come on and kind of give us a rundown of like, what is UDJC and what are we kind of expecting here?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you, Elizabeth, for giving me the opportunity to talk about the UDJC. So the UDJC is the United Dressage and Jumping Club. It is a brand new organization that got started in Texas and is rapidly expanding across the country. And basically, this is a whole new organization that's sort of like in parallel to the USEF. There's totally different rules, a lot less fees, so it's a lot more affordable, which is one of the things that I like most about the organization. But basically, it's bringing jumping and dressage together in one show so that you're not having to follow two separate show circuits. And it's educating riders from the ground up and helping them sort of understand the role of dressage in their jumping fundamentals.
Basically. I love that. I'm more of a dressage background and I have no experience in jumping. So I know that with like dressage, we start with intro and we end up at Grand Prix, hopefully. Yeah. And then with jumping, I've seen like all kinds of numbers thrown around. So like, how do they break down different divisions in the UDJC?
Yeah, that's a great question. So actually the UDJC doesn't have divisions at all. Right. So they have levels starting with pre-beginner. So a pre-beginner level would be something like a 40 centimeter, which if you're not familiar with the metric system is like 16 inches. Okay. So you start with the really, really little jumps. This is for the little kids that are just getting their feet wet. And they would do just something really simple, like a class with 4 cross rails at the trot. And then gradually, as they move up the levels, the difficulty of the courses becomes more challenging. In the beginning, the classes are in a group format, so it's kind of like a lesson or even a clinic. So there will be 4 riders in the ring at a time, and the judge is kind of calling out different things that they'd like them to do. And then after that, the judge talks to the competitors one at a time, lets them know what they liked, what they need to work on for the next time. And then the second time they go back in the ring is when they're being scored as an individual. And both the free part and the scored part together determine their score.
Okay, so they're getting instantaneous feedback.
Yes.
In the class.
Yes.
Okay, because that's something that I do like in dressage is that we usually get notes, but that's, well after the class. And it's kind of what we can try to work on for the next thing. But I like this idea of like instant feedback from the judge right then and then immediately implement it is kind of what I'm hearing.
Exactly. Yes. Okay, that is like one of my favorite things about this organization is it kind of takes some of the mystery out of why you got the score that you got.
Okay.
And and then so as you kind of progress through the levels, it goes all the way up to, basically like a Grand Prix dressage level. And you sort of work your way through each level has an ability class, which is kind of open entry. And once you get satisfactory scores in your ability classes, then you're qualified to move up to the benchmark, which are the more difficult and prestigious classes.
Gotcha. Okay. Sounds good. So then what do we need to know for this show? Are we going to be just jumping into some of these benchmark classes? Is it going to be predominantly ability? As a dressage rider, do I need to worry about hunt attire? Like if I want to go to this show, kind of, what am I going to kind of expect,
Sure.
and need?
Okay. So this is designed to be a very low pressure, inclusive environment. So especially at the lower levels, the requirements for tack are very, very flexible. So you are expected to look neat and tidy. It's a show, and braiding is not required, but it's encouraged. And it's even more encouraged that the kids do the braiding themselves, because that's one of the core values that the organization is trying to promote is thinking, self-sufficient kids who know all of the things and don't have to be shown what to do all the time.
Like it.
So you do have to ride in English tack. There is a lot of detailed information on the UDJC website that will tell you about bit requirements and that sort of thing.
Okay.
But if you only have one saddle, a dressage saddle, that's fine. If you only have a close contact jumping saddle, you can do your dressage test in that as well.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm trying to think of anything else. So what are the dates again?
So the dates are June 20th through 22nd.
Okay.
So the show itself is a 2-day show, the 21st and 22nd. On the 20th, the Golden Horseshoe has very graciously offered to host a social event. It's designed to be a community building event. David will be there, and there will be a limited number of clinic spots. So if you want to just have an opportunity to practice and get feedback, there will be 6 clinic spots for dressage and 6 for jumping. And then the show itself, the Saturday, Sunday formats are exactly the same. It's not like you have jumping on one day and dressage on the other day.
Okay.
And in general, most people ride about 3 classes per day. So the shows kind of move along pretty quickly.
Okay.
The other thing to note is that there's prize money, like quite a bit of prize money.
Oh, well, that's handy.
Yeah, so that's as long as there are 6 people in the classes pay out really well, and as you move up the levels, the amount of prize money increases too.
Okay, well, that's also really nice to know.
Yeah.
All right, so then you don't have to, if you can only ride on Saturday, you're still encouraged to come. It's not going to be,
absolutely,
like you said, no dressage on Saturday and then jumping on Sunday. Like, come and do them both on both days.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, well, if they have any, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, there's just a couple other things I wanted to point out that are different about this show. So there's the dressage, there's the jumping. We did add hunters because that was something that a lot of people wanted to have.
Yeah.
So for the jumping, if you've ever watched a show jumping competition on TV, that's sort of what this style jumping class is modeled after. So you don't have to have a super expensive fancy horse. You just have to be able to ride well, and you have to be able to think on your course. The courses tend to be a little bit longer. They're more like a derby class. And they do some cool things, like there's gymnastics in the classes, because that's something that David Reichert, the founder, really wanted to encourage, is the importance of gymnastics in your jumping training. And you'll see more oxers, you'll see more in and outs, you'll see some water jumps, which I'm really excited about. The hunters is supposed to be more like the old hunters, like the fox hunting type. So the jumps are actually going to be bigger and more rustic in nature. So you're welcome to enter those classes if the style jumping doesn't suit you. But the other thing that I love about this show format is there are classes specifically for young horses. So if you have a young horse that you're trying to develop and you don't want to spend an arm and a leg, this is the kind of show for you. So we have classes for young horses that only young horses will be in there. So we're eliminating that situation where trainers are competing against students and that sort of thing.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool. So I'm hearing that we're really encouraging our young riders to kind of take ownership on getting ready and riding themselves and tacking up their horses, getting their horses, like taking a lot more ownership in and out of the show ring, and also the opportunity for young horses. So I'm seeing kind of a theme here.
Absolutely.
With that, so that you don't have to be, already completely put together before you show up for a show. Like, the whole point of this show is sounding like we want you to start where you're starting and progress.
Absolutely.
And the way that the show is set up, the way that the organization is set up, is that you don't have to be on your A game to start here.
Yes. And I'm so glad you said that. So one of the things that's different about the judging criteria, if, for example, you have a little kid who's riding around a course and somebody opens an umbrella and the horse spooks.
Okay. Yeah.
The child is not going to be penalized for that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Even knocking a rail down does not carry a penalty.
Okay.
It is all about the skill and ability of the rider. We want to just keep kids encouraged and focused on the right things, so they understand what's really going to help them become a better rider.
So we're more focused on the rider's ability and the rider's skill than we are about how well the horse is moving, is also the kind of thing. So we can have something that, might not have been bred for this, but can do very well and succeed very well at this, because it's not necessarily about the fancy movements.
Yes. Now, with that said, if you have a lovely fancy horse that you would love to show off, We do have benchmark classes, but at this particular show, since it's the first one, we only offer, I think, one benchmark class.
Okay.
But in the future, as you go to more shows, and we will be having 3 more shows in the St. Louis area. So as you progress through the levels and you have, a really nice dressage horse that you want to show off, the benchmark classes do evaluate the quality of the horse's gait.
Okay.
So just wanted to.
So that's an aspect that we need to keep in mind.
Exactly.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yes.
All right. And then, so you've got 3 more shows that are coming up. So that's good. So in order to do those benchmarks, you want to go ahead and get started now at this show, so that by the time that we get to some of those later shows, you will have qualified, or is that the right word? Qualified?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, fabulous.
Yeah.
All right. I'm trying to think. Anything else? We've covered the date. We've covered the attire and tack. We've covered what it is. Oh, what if I, as a dressage rider, chicken out and decide that I don't want to jump at all? Can I still come to the show? Can I still just do dressage? Or if I'm a jumper that's like, I don't know how I feel about 20-meter circles, like, can they just not, or do you have to compete in both?
Nope, that's a great question. You don't. At the very, very early levels, the pre-beginner and beginner, they are kind of melded together, but you can absolutely show independently. We encourage you to try both, but you don't have to.
Fabulous. All right. Well, I definitely think that if you're going to do one, you should do both, because why not? It sounds like it's a very welcoming environment. You're going to get the feedback. So this is also a great time where it's like, if you don't know, you've never done dressage before, you're going to get instant feedback from the judge on like, this is kind of what we're looking for. Or I like that you did this, but should have been done this way instead. So you're not going into it blind. Or if you are going into it blind, then you're going to have instantaneous feedback as soon as you're done with your first round, is what it sounds like.
Yes. And we've been talking a lot about young riders and that sort of thing. I don't want anyone to get the idea that if you're not, a kid, that this is not the show for you. We absolutely want you at this show, especially people who have maybe, not showed in a long time and they're just getting back into it. You are absolutely welcome and encouraged to come. And we also need great, friendly, advanced riders to mentor this next generation of kids. So we're really grateful for anyone who comes to support the show and really just support our sport in general.
Yeah. It sounds like it's a new organization. So everybody's new at it.
Exactly.
There's nobody that's been doing this for 20 years because it's new for everyone.
Yeah. So. And they say, the environment is just different at these shows. It's really fun because no one's taking themselves too seriously. They're coming to try something new and they're brave enough. So I think it attracts a really nice group of people, and we would love to have you there.
Absolutely. So we will also be there. So we hope to see you there. We'll be cheering everybody on. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Virginia. We are going to go ahead and have her contact information posted somewhere in this video or on this video, or we'll get it to you. And then if you have any other questions, if you'd like to take a look at the rule book or the different levels and what those requirements are, feel free to go to udjc.org. And then we'll also have David on site Friday afternoon, evening. So if you've got any last minute questions, we'll be able to handle those as well.
Yeah. And we are going to do a Q&A with David over Zoom. So details will be forthcoming about that. So if you just want to talk with him or just kind of air out ideas, we encourage you to attend one of those Q&As as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming in today. We really appreciate it. Thanks.
All right. Bye. Bye.